we need to change that. So hopefully before the end of today, we push that barrier a little bit.
In fact, I love treating. I love it when we have patients coming in from all over.
Well, that's the problem. You love it. And so you don't even think you have to get paid for it because you enjoy it so much. Jacqui is here with me. Jacqui owns, name your practice.
It's Performance Physical Therapy.
Yeah. Coldwater, Ohio, about 2 hours northish of me. I went to visit Jacqui's clinic maybe a month ago. And she has such an amazing business set up. I basically said, hey, I want to do a live event with you. I want, Dave, every now and then my New York accent comes out, my Long Island accent. I just said with you, W-I-T. Okay.
Wit.
Yeah. I said, hey, I want to, connect with you. I want to do a live event. I want to talk about how you're using the NeuFit, how you're doing what you do. Jacqui she and her husband just built this whole performance center really in a separate space, separate from the physical therapy clinic. I am so jealous. The eye for style, the design, the color scheme, everything. She is what I aspire to be if I was going down that road and building my business. No lie. So that being said, Jacqui is going to be with us through the morning. Everybody who's joining now, post your questions. But Dave, we had a topic that we were going to talk about first. Remind me what it was.
We had a couple things, but I would love to just talk about the NeuFit and how Jacqui's using it and, get her thoughts on her approach and, why. I think you said they have 7 units. I think that's enough for probably the whole show.
8. Actually, we have 8.
8, excuse me.
Yeah, so go ahead, introduce it.
So yeah, I was very fortunate in the fact that, yes, during COVID, I learned about the Neubie in 2019. I flew down to Florida because Jason Waz was doing some training. So I did that. And then we started seeing some really, really impressive results with what we had and with our clinicians at the time. I think we had 5 PTs, 4 or 5 PTAs, and a few rehab techs. And knowing that the results we were already getting, we needed more of them in order to serve our patients the way we wanted to. And then COVID hit, and that's when Garrett was going to myself and another therapist was going to fly to Florida or fly to Texas and get the training. Well, then everything was shut down, and we took advantage of the opportunity. We said, everybody's coming to work. And we shut down for patient care for 2 weeks, but 1 whole week we did training, the entire staff. So I kind of drew a line either you're with us or you're not with us. And everybody said, hey, we're with you. And so our entire staff was trained in the use of the Neubie. And ever since then, one thing led to another. And it really expanded not only what we treat, because when you're in a rural area, you have to treat everything. You have anything that walks in the door. And then the more we used it, the more we realized, actually, there's really a neural driven approach to a lot of the conditions that we treat. And then it really exponentially improved our outcomes, especially with vestibular rehab. I would say most of our patients, it's 2-3 visits at most if they truly have BPPV. And it also was the lead domino in treating some other conditions like acute flaccid myelitis, which is a very rare pediatric polio. That's actually the reason why we started it.
This will be an interesting story because this was one of the things that I was thinking, she went down this road of, she had a referral, a unique case, not very popular, but then got involved with Facebook groups, got involved with the community around this condition. First, I had no idea. I've never heard of this condition. So I use them interchangeably.
Yeah.
But
it's the NeuFit method. So the Neubie is the machine. The NeuFit method is how you use the machine. So it's not just a matter of, I think that's one of the misconceptions that we see a lot of times, is that it's just a machine. It's a modality. And it really isn't. It gives you, to me, I'm a much better clinician. And that's why all of the therapists that use the Neubie, and I believe if you're going to do it, go big or go home and really know what you're doing. And now that we use it so much, we see, clinical patterns. Like if you see this, you're going to be treating bad. So it kind of, it's not just a treatment tool, it's a diagnostic tool, and it gets you thinking better or more in depth on how to get down to the root cause of treating a lot of different conditions.
Awesome. So at the time when you guys got the first device, or even since then, is your practice performance, PT, and wellness? Are you guys 100% in network with most payers, with most insurances?
That's. I'm so glad you asked that, because what I'm starting is current medicine, play on words, is how to use electrotherapeutic modalities in breaking away from your 100% all cash or all insurance-based therapy. So before we had the Neubie, we were 100% insurance-based. And what we have been able to do is, because our outcomes are so much better, they are so much faster, it has become and your insurance, the value of your insurance is much less. Deductibles are much higher. So patients, even if you're out of network, if they know that it's going to be like, let's just say vertigo for example, if they know it's going to be 2 or 3 visits, and sometimes it's one and done, that, it comes down to a solution, not how many visits you treat. So if you can give them the solution, that has enabled us to really decrease the amount of, in-network necessity. In fact, since then, we've dropped a lot of Aetna, we've dropped Humana, we've dropped Medicaid, those payers, just because it is keeping on that treadmill is unsustainable.
I told her she should be doing what Angie does with Apex. She should be signing, the cancellation agreements, like making it the event, like grandstand that, because I mean that's where they're going. And before we got on this podcast, we were talking about, look, I showed her the Softwave. We have the NeuFit out there. I was like, this is what we're charging. This is how we're pricing it. This is what we're doing. Because we're still so stuck in the mindset of everything has to be paid for by insurance when it really doesn't, So go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Awesome. So, okay. So you have been in the process of dropping lower paying insurance contracts. That makes sense. Let's say I don't know your area. You said which area of Ohio? Cold. I just saw it. Coldwater.
Coldwater. It's in the middle of a bunch of cornfields and bean fields and a lot of chickens and cows and pigs.
Got it. Let's say I move from New York City. I move to Coldwater, Ohio. I call you guys up, or I stop in. What would be if I have pain, I have back pain. I come in, and let's say, like, I'm coming from New York City, so I don't have insurance right now. I have a lot of back pain. My buddy Tony Maritato said to go check this place out. And do you got, like, how much is it? And is it like physical therapy on the front end? Is it right into some Neubie treatment? How much would it be? And how does that process go?
Actually, it's very interesting because of the Neubie, we are in the middle of nowhere. And since having it and treating this specialized condition, I have had patients come in from all over the United States. I have patients from Singapore. I've had patients from Australia. I've had patients, come to our little area, Los Angeles, and they come into our area for, sometimes 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks, depending on the situation. Or sometimes if it's just a one and done and they want to see, like, I'm in from the area. In fact, I have family that live or work right in New York City, and, I've hooked them up. And so if they would come in, and which has actually really happened, I would, do my normal evaluation. And I definitely, if it's warranted and it's not contraindicated, I definitely will do a thorough evaluation. I'll do like that mapping, and I'll see, primarily if it's an orthopedic condition, like, can I reproduce a comparable sign, and map them, and then start in with treatment. And depending on, if they're going to be in for a little while, we'll set up a plan of care, or like a, and I'll treat them usually. And it just depends on the situation. I've gone to starting to do more of what we call solutions-based offers, meaning instead of you pay me for every single visit, which I think it's set up wrong, because like, what is the incentive of improving your skills and investing in technology? You're going to get paid the same. But I do feel that if you have a great clinical skill set and you have the technology that can get those greater outcomes, sell them the solution. That's what they want. They don't care how they get there. And I think that's what the most important thing is to do. And that's how we will set it up. And then we'll give them a home program, and we can do telehealth or, coaching or whatever, is most appropriate to them.
Awesome. So if I was in Coldwater, I'm new to the area, I didn't have insurance, I call in, I say I have back pain, maybe am I scheduling the evaluation and that's a certain dollar amount, or you're going to do a sales process over the phone and find out, like, I run, I lift weights, and I want to be able to get back to, squatting 225 without any pain, or running 3 to 5 miles without any pain? Is the offer right into the solutions-based offer, or is it like an evaluation in person, then pitch the solutions-based offer?
Yeah. So what it starts with is that good conversation first. What's going on? I want to have some good background before. So we'll send you some paperwork. And then we'll have a conversation of what that actually looks like. And then without seeing you, to say that I can do this for you I think it's unrealistic. So the way we have it set up, that I will do your evaluation, and depending on the situation, generally 180 is our evaluation, and depending, that's for an hour evaluation. If I know I'm going to have somebody coming in from out of town, which we do, we have patients that do come in on a regular basis, actually a few from Cincinnati, that come, and if we know we're going to make it worth their time, we're going to spend probably at least an hour and a half to 2 hours with them.
Now, real quick, my objective is to get that 180 to 500, because I mean, just seeing what she did out here. So like, she was out here with me. I wanted her to see how she's doing things with the NeuFit, because I don't know it that well, and I'm here to learn. The evaluation was ridiculously thorough. The stuff that she was looking at was far deeper than I would be looking at. The clinical, and the thing is, she's so used to it, she doesn't even realize the value of what she's giving away. And I'm going to say, if somebody's willing to come to Coldwater, they're willing to spend $500. So that should be the initial offer. Come out, we'll do a $500 evaluation, plan of care, establish goals, and then we'll determine what comes after that. And then you, Mr. Client, can make the decision on whether it's something you want to do. But like, this would be a great example where I would say, absolutely, we are way undercharging. But that's why, we have these conversations. That's why we have this podcast, is because when you're in a bubble, when you're away from everybody and you don't have other people around to say, oh my gosh, what you're giving away gold for the price of copper, we need to change that. So hopefully before the end of today, we push that barrier a little bit.
In fact, I love treating. I love it when we have patients coming in from all over.
Well, that's the problem. You love it. And so you don't even think you have to get paid for it, because you enjoy it so much. But yeah, like it was amazing watching her in action and seeing what she was looking at. No doubt, like that price will go up.
Love it. So, with your ability to attract folks out of town, Jacqui, you're probably, you might answer, the answer might be multiple reasons. First of all, I love the website. I just had it up. Performance. I just lost the tone. performanceptw.com.
Yes.
And then that looks like the main landing page that then the patient or client can pick either performance PT and wellness. I guess if they have pain or an injury, it says, treating a specific diagnosis or condition, or there's the new thing Tony talked about. It sounds like the peak performance and health. Before we get into that, how are folks finding you outside of town, outside of whether in Cincinnati or in other states or other countries? Is it this sleek website? Is it you're on a directory through Neubie and NeuFit because they have a global reach? Is it because you have great video testimonials on your website. I'm sure it's a lot of the spokes of the wheel, but like, how do you think you're able to attract folks out of town? Like, what are you doing online that allows you to get in front of other people in LA or Singapore or other countries and other states?
I think when it comes to patients that have been like from, all over the United States, that is very specific to acute flaccid myelitis. In fact, when I first started with that condition, I didn't like neuro at all. And now that we have the Neubie, I love it because it's like, it really expands your possibilities. But I feel that that's how, like Facebook groups and things like that, I feel like I need to, and that's really my drive soon, is to increase a lot of, that social media presence, because I think that it's word of mouth. And the NeuFit Corporation, where our clinic is considered now a center of excellence. So there's 8 clinics in the United States that are considered centers of excellence. So you can be training, and that also, all the technology that we use, I'm part of their Facebook groups.
Okay, so most of the out-of-town referrals or folks seeking you have to do with that diagnosis specifically.
Yeah, those, yes. And when you have it's a small world, it's kind of like when you have a really good outcome with a physician, or you have a really good outcome with a patient, they tell people, and the world is not so small anymore.
Awesome. What are some other surprising things that you found out in the first year or two of using this? And then when you went from buying the first unit to the second or third, what was the aha moment? Was it specifically about treating this condition and the outcome, and then the response to that? What was the aha moment to go from one unit to multiple, and then eventually continue to add units?
I think one is the versatility. So a Neubie just actually completed this, or one of the studies, but like things that normally you could never treat effectively. For example, diabetic neuropathy. We had a patient who was a school teacher, and she had neuropathy associated with chemo, and she was a gym teacher, and she lost the ability to actually do her job effectively. And we did a diabetic neuropathy protocol with her, and she actually went to a wedding, and she was able to dance for the first time. That was huge. So treating things that we knew beforehand that really didn't affect anything. You can have really good manual skills. You can have really good, you can have a lot of different skills, but that intellectual property is very much centered on the provider. And that also becomes a bottleneck with running a practice. And what I don't want, our clinic to be Jacqui Bruering's physical therapy clinic. It's performance. And each one of us are all contributing to this, kind of like this movement. And I want all of the clinicians good. And yes, we spend a lot of time on skill set development, but the Neubie enables for even that new grad to get some successes under their belt without having learned and having that big experience. Is that if you can give them confidence of like, gosh, I can do this, and I can really make a big difference in a short period of time, that boosts their confidence level, and it just becomes a catalyst for them to become a better clinician.
Did you guys already talk about team size and what your team looks like?
We briefly talked about it. Like currently we have 4 PTs, 4 PTAs, and 2.5 rehab techs.
So look, like Coldwater is not metro. It's not
oh my gosh, no.
downtown Manhattan. I complain that I can't find staff, and she's got a full team. It's just, again, it's one of those things where I think if you build something that people want to be part of, they're going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to come out and they're going to be part of that. And you have some competition around you. You have a hospital outpatient clinic around you.
There's the hospital, and they have like amongst the contracts that they have, which is like all the athletic training, they have speech, OT, PT. We have just PT. So we don't have, a lot of things, but their staff is huge. There's other companies that are like, maybe not national. Oh, there's a few national companies that are local, that are in our area, but there's very few, those individual private practice that are In fact, there's hardly anybody that's more than a one-off. You know, some people like, hey, you put up your sign and they treat patients because they want to treat it the way they want to. It's just that I wanted to have more impact and get these clinicians. Like, I feel like they need, like, there needs to be an option other than a big healthcare system.
Love it. Approximately how many of your patients and clients that are coming in that have the traditional outpatient ortho, aches and pains or the neurological presentations, what percentage of your caseload across all of your clinicians are using the Neubie on, like, at least, once a visit or once every 2 visits? Is it 50-50? Is it, 75, 80% of your
90,
clinicians are
90%? 90%.
So it sounds like you've had maybe minimal to no pushback on your clinicians adopting this and using it. And I'm assuming that's because of the patient feedback and the results and the outcomes from that patients say, or what?
I think it's a lot of things, but one, it's feedback. In fact, I just read through our surveys last night from patients. What was a driver for them? How many come from, referred friends or family? How many would recommend us? And how many come to our clinic knowing that the technology plays a role in their outcome? And then I cross-reference that with how much did that play a role in your decision to choose us as your provider? And by and large, we are known for using the Neubie, FSM, PEMF, or starting with laser and things like that, because patients know, we live in an area with a very low unemployment rate. They take pride in getting back to work. They take pride in, we have our typical spread demographics, but for the most part, people want to be healthy and they don't want to miss work. They're an athlete and they want to get back on the fields ASAP. And in our area, the athlete, the MAC is very well known throughout Ohio as being like crank out, state titles like nobody's business. And they want an investment that's going to get them real results in as fast as absolutely possible.
Awesome. Tony, what are some other highlights that I think, you're interested in or that you want to kind of highlight here? And I'm sure that you already know, and you probably already spoke with Jacqui about it, but maybe it's just not on any of your videos yet. Anything that like really impresses you or, questions that you have for her?
I think it's one of those deals where we're looking at this from the perspective of, a small provider coming into the marketplace. How do we differentiate ourselves? So how do we expand on the services? When I started a million years ago, I knew I knew my objective. I said, look, I want a really high quality functional trainer. I think I had $15,000 to invest at that time. I had saved money working at the hospital. I said, I want to buy a really high quality functional trainer. I want a really good set of rubberized dumbbells. Like, that was the equipment that I literally built the practice around. Now, as I look at this, I'm like, there's other things that we could do. We could literally, if I was a mobile therapist, like the NeuFit comes in a little carrier with wheels and you can bring it around. I took it to places already. I'm like, I would build my business around that device. You use the device. You also do the musculoskeletal ultrasound, the imaging. I would build my business around that technology, especially if it's a differentiating factor that nobody else around me has. And I would be the expert in that. And my price would double instantly just because I'm not providing the commodity that everybody else can provide. I'm providing that unique experience that nobody else has access to. That's really where I'm trying to go with this. And like all the stuff that I do, I don't care. I don't need to do that. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because I like to experiment. And then if we can kind of crack that nut, I think it'll just help other people understand, oh, this is something that I could use that does benefit the patient, that does benefit profits, that allows me to stay in business in a competitive environment, and nobody else has.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@ conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE at CONCIERGE, painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.